Let me ask you something. Do you think you're smarter than your parents? Smarter than your grandparents? For 50 years, that wasn't a strange thing to assume. Every generation scored higher on intelligence tests than the one before it. Not by a hair, measurably, reliably higher in every country that tracked it from the 1930s to the 1990s. A kid born in 1980 tested on paper as smarter than the parents who raised them. Scientists named it the Flynn Effect, and for half a century, it was one of the steadiest findings in all of cognitive science. Then, around 1995, the climb stopped, and the line bent the other way. Data from more than 1 million people across 8 countries now confirms what nobody was bracing for. The scores are dropping, by margins large enough that researchers landed on the word alarming. But the part almost nobody has placed next to the decline, the thing rising on the very same timeline, is where it stops being a curiosity and gets hard to look away from. A Norwegian study in 2018 confirmed the reversal was real and speeding up. It followed more than 700,000 men over 3 decades. A separate American project measured roughly 400,000 people across 4 cognitive areas. 3 of the 4 were sliding. There are 3 forces behind this. The third makes the first 2 look like a warm-up, and there's something sitting in the opening of this video that will mean something different to you by the end. When the reversal first spread, the explanation that traveled fastest was also the most comfortable, as long as you weren't the group it pointed at. It went like this: smart people have fewer kids, less educated people have more, and over enough generations the arithmetic grinds average intelligence down. It had a name, the dysgenics hypothesis, and it wore the cold confidence of a math problem. You've probably heard a version of it. You may have half believed it. Then those same Norwegian researchers knocked the legs out from under it. They didn't compare different families. They compared brothers. Same parents, same house, same genes, same dinner table. The only thing that changed was when each one grew up, and the younger brother scored lower. Sit with that. The drop can't be in their DNA. They shared it with the older brother who scored higher. Something in the world shifted between one brother's childhood and the next, and it shifted everywhere. The same pattern surfaced in Denmark, Finland, France, the Netherlands, Estonia, and across multiple American datasets. So this was never about who's having children with whom. It's about something in the shared environment that changed after 1975. Something that drags down the exact skills these tests measure: abstract reasoning, working memory, processing speed, the ability to hold several ideas in your head at once and move them around. There are suspects. You touch at least 2 of them every single day, but the first one isn't what you'd guess. The skills falling fastest aren't a random scatter. They cluster, and the cluster has a name: executive function, sustained attention, working memory, turning down an easy reward now for a better one later, reasoning under pressure. Here's the mechanism. Executive function isn't handed to you at birth. It's built like a muscle through repeated effort, and the exercise that builds it has quietly gone extinct. That exercise is boredom. Staying with something hard when an easy exit is right there. Reading a long argument to its end. Sitting with a problem you can't solve yet instead of reaching for your phone. In 2023, researchers tracked more than 80,000 people and found something hard to swallow. The average stretch a person could stay on one screen before switching had fallen from 2.5 minutes in 2004 to 47 seconds. Not because people got dumber, because nothing around them demanded focus anymore. Every app, every feed, every platform is engineered to interrupt you, because interruption keeps you scrolling, and scrolling is the product. The business model and the cognitive damage are the same machine. Now go back to those brothers. Same house, but the younger one grew up with more interruption and far fewer hours of the slow, unbroken focus that built his brother's mind. Same seed, different light. The attention environment is the main driver, but it isn't working alone. And the second suspect was pulled out of your food without anyone telling you. For most of the 20th century, commercial bread across the US and Europe was made with iodized dough conditioners. Iodine drives thyroid function, and thyroid function is tied directly to how a brain develops, especially before birth and in early childhood. Then, through the 1970s and 80s, manufacturers swapped it out for bromine-based ones. Iodine deficiency, a problem the world thought it had solved, quietly came back. In poorer populations, it's documented to cost 10 to 15 IQ points. In wealthier ones, the hit is smaller, but it's still there, and it happened without a single announcement. There's more. Leaded gasoline ran in American cars until the mid-1990s, and researchers estimate it shaved measurable points off entire birth cohorts who breathed it in growing up. Nutrition, chemical exposure, the attention environment, 3 forces running at once for 50 years, and yet not one of them explains what shows up when you lay the decline next to something else, something climbing quietly since 2015. That graph is what this video is actually about. The skills falling fastest in us, reasoning through a problem, holding several things in mind at once, staying focused, thinking under pressure, are the hardest abilities we ever developed. The ones that built everything. Not reading or talking, but the deeper work of sitting with a hard problem and pushing through it, ignoring the obvious answer to find the real one. And those are precisely, measurably, the skills artificial intelligence has improved at fastest since 2015. We've measured how well humans think since the 1930s. We've measured how well machines think since about 2015. Put both on one graph and there's nothing subtle about it. One line falls, one line climbs, and right now, they're closer than they have ever been. Researchers will remind you the 2 tests aren't identical, and they're right, but even they admit the overlap isn't an accident. Both lines are heading for the same place. Here's the part almost nobody says out loud, because it changes everything. The reverse Flynn effect is environmental, not genetic, not permanent. Things that change can can, in principle, change back. The brothers are the proof. The only thing that could explain two siblings in one house scoring differently is the world each grew into. No generation before this one has been able to watch the decline happen in real time. You have that data now. You're watching the two lines close in. At the exact moment the decline is confirmed to be reversible, and the cost of letting it run has never been higher. So the question was never whether humans are getting dumber. We are. The question is whether the line turns back up, and whether you end up part of the answer or part of the trend. The science on reversing it points to a specific set of conditions, nearly the opposite of what most productivity advice will tell you. The line isn't fixed. The window won't stay open forever. And right now, you're one of the only generations in history that even knows the line is there.